Hello, everyone. Today we're going to begin creating our first website, actually. And it's going to be pretty basic to start. We're going to focus today on the basic tags and creating a list, a header, kind of just the most basic stuff that you would have on a library website. You know, the title of the page, a short description of the library, and maybe a list of the operating hours. Now, what I'm going to do is kind of stay at the base level, explain what each element means as I'm adding it, show you how it all works. Hopefully make more sense to you how everything aligns. But as I say, it is a base level, and if you want to go further here, add more to your site, even work a little bit ahead, you're welcome to do that, but you are not required to do so. If you can essentially reproduce what I have, but with your own library content, then you're good to go. So to start, I'm going to pull up my file explorer. And we're gonna go to that folder. If you recall, we created that LI843 folder. So I'm gonna find that. I'm gonna actually create some subfolders now before we begin. So we're gonna call this library website. And we're gonna actually work inside of there. We're going to actually even create another subfolder within the library website. So this is where we'll put all of our web pages, but we're going to have more content that will appear on the web pages, but is not itself a web page. By that, I mean images, and we're not to this yet, but it's okay to go ahead and make a folder for it. CSS. We'll be adding some style documents, and you can put that in a separate folder if you want, just to keep things organized. And so within this library website folder, within the LI843 folder, this is where we're going to create our first website. And we won't use these right now, but I just wanted to have them ready for when we do use them. So you can either open through here, or if you're in the folder where you want it to be already, it's just as easy to go to new and create a text document, and you can name that your website or whatever. So this is our text document. Open that up, and I'm going to go ahead also create our HTML version of this website. And there's nothing in it yet, but we can pull it up so we can begin to think about how things are going to appear. And let me see here. That's not what I want. There we go. Here's our library website and where it will appear on the screen. And so we can follow along and see what it's doing over here in the actual website as we add content. Now, I know the first thing we need is to tell the computer that we want to use HTML. We don't want to use PHP. We want them to understand what language we're going to be coding in. So HTML, we'll add our HTML. Hey, computer, we're using HTML today. And to make it simple when you're coding, it's best to go ahead and put that close tag so you don't forget. So down here, do all this stuff in here. If I put anything in here, do that. But then once we get to here, hey, computer, we're done with the HTML now. Once you get to this, anything down here, that's extra. Don't need that right now. So we'll start by focusing on the header element. And the header can be a bit confusing, I suppose you could say, because it's not content that will appear on here. It's content that's strictly for our working documents. So you might wonder why it's necessary. Well, imagine you have a website where you have 100 of these pages linked together. And you want to be able to easily sort through them and say, this is what I'm looking for on this site that I need to fix, and so on. By giving the pages titles, it's easier to navigate between them and say, this is what's on this page, and so on, especially when you're looking at tons of code. So our websites for this class are fairly basic. They're not necessarily going to include a lot of code. But as time passes, if you created very complex websites, if you look at a website like Amazon, you know, certainly you'd need a title in order to make it clear what a web page does, how they're connected, those kinds of things. So anyways, you'll generally have the header at the top of your web page. That's saying, hey, computer, this is a header. I'm just using it to make sense of this page, basically, for myself. You don't need to print it. And then title, and we'll give our web page a title, library website homepage. It's descriptive as possible to help you in the future. And we'll save that. And so I saved this in HTML and update. See, still nothing on there because, again, it's just in the head. It's not going to appear on there. We're just telling it, hey, this is the title. We want to be able to know this in the future. So we're pasting this here. And that's all we've done so far. And then we're done with that. So now we do want to actually print some stuff. Now about white space, we're going to talk about more about this as we progress through the course, but you can space things out as much as you want and it won't affect anything. If you want, you can type hello, hello, and it just prints it consecutively there. The white space on here does not correlate to white space on your website. If you want to create white space on between these items, what you can do is add actual page breaks. And these can be, again, it's all white space. It's all just a sandbox for you. So you can put these consecutively, or you can put it way down here, another one, and save it. And it'll still create the same breakage. It doesn't really matter where you put it on there. Also, you'll notice the break, how I wrote it that time like that, but you can also write it like this. And just with the BR instead of the stop BR. Now you notice the difference there. In both cases, I had 3 of these, but in the case where I had the backslash and then the BR, it only printed 1 line difference. Here it prints 3 lines because this is essentially, this is the equivalent of an opening. Even though these don't require the matching tags, they do kind of mean different things. So the backslash BR means break, but it only reads it once. If you put the BR as like an opening tag, it reads it every time you put it in there. So you can create a ton of white space if you want. I mean, there's easier ways to do this. We'll talk about with CSS, but you know, you could create a ton of white space by just copying and pasting BR a bunch of times and have your hello way down here. So that's how you would actually create white space on the website, not on here, where it doesn't make any difference. It'll still print it consecutively. Generally, so you could see from that you can just type in here and it'll print it, but it's best to have coding surrounding what we're typing in order to better organize the web page when we add other elements, when we add images, and when we add CSS style guides. We're going to want to have proper tags and elements in order to understand how everything aligns and be able to adjust how things look on the page, changing font size, that kind of stuff. That's going to require us to have tags, not just typing it all into this section of the HTML. And so we're going to want to start putting in actual tags. And the first one is body. Again, open tag and close tag. Body is telling it this is what, again, you don't have, it works without the tag, but you want the tag to specify to the computer, this is what we want on the web page. This is the body of the web page. Again, because we include this tag in this element, we can modify aspects of this element, the size of the web page and such. So again, it's important to keep this tag, even though it works technically without that tag. We're going to create a title, like a welcome with our library's name. We're going to create a description of what we're putting on this website of the library. And we're going to create an unordered, so a bullet point, whereas the ordered list is numbered, a bullet point, unordered list of our library's operating hours. It's not going to look fancy right now because we aren't to CSS yet. We aren't to images yet. We're going to do that in the coming weeks. So it's just going to look like a list of stuff that doesn't really look like a full website yet, but we're just getting into this right now. So we're going to start with some basic elements. So and it's not going to be aligned or anything. It's just not going to look pretty right now, but we'll get there in a few weeks. So to create that title, that thing that's going to say, welcome to Brady Memorial Library, we're going to use an H1 heading. That's the biggest and boldest heading you can have, a level 1 header. And again, go ahead and put that opening tag and that close tag so you know they're paired together. Again, you can have as much white space as you want, but I just like to type it like this. And then we'll type what we want to be that big bold heading for our website. So welcome to Brady Memorial Library. Save that. Boom, there's our big bold welcome to the website. Again, it's not centered. We'll get to that soon enough with the CSS and how we're going to organize the site, but we're just going to put some content right now, fill some stuff out. Okay, so we're done with that level 1 heading. We don't want anything else this big or bold on our website because we want this to stand out. Let's create a little bit of extra space here, and we'll move that down with the break there. And then let's put in a description of the website. And I'm thinking maybe we want to do like a level 3 header, a little bit smaller. And we could say something like about the library. Maybe we don't need this, but just another way to look at a different type of header about the library. It's, as you know, smaller font size. And then we could actually create a paragraph. And within this paragraph, we could put the description of our library. So the Brady Memorial Library was founded in Chester. Whatever. Just example, once you get these elements down, the actual content you're adding to paragraphs like that isn't really that big of a deal. So you can add as much as you want in that paragraph. And I would suggest you actually populate this out with quite a bit of content to describe what your library is. So I'm thinking like a paragraph of 5 to 7 sentences for what you'll want to add to your site that you're creating that describes about what your library is. You know, it's kind of philosophy, that kind of stuff. Maybe under that even. Well, let's see. What do I want to do here? I kind of want to say mission statement. That might be something good to have here. We'll make that a little bit smaller as a level 4 heading. Again, because you include the P elements, it goes ahead and actually already builds that extra space in there. Whereas here we use the break to create quite a bit of space here. But the paragraph will build in some nice spacing automatically. And here you'll include a little bit about your mission statement for your library. And so now we have that as well listed there. Missed a period. Add that period in. So we could add an image, and we'll probably do that next week. We'll probably add images right here. I think what we want to do now is just add some hours of operation for our library, and then get everything saved in the TXT and HTML format, and we'll call that good for today, and we'll move forward next time, because you'll need to spend some time populating the mission statement, thinking about what you want that to say about that kind of stuff. So I'll give you some time to just get acquainted with these basic tags before we move forward. Let's go ahead and I like that H4 tag. I like the size of that. So we'll go ahead and use that again, or I will. You're welcome to change these out, like the H4, H3. Pick what you want for all these elements. I'm just using this as an example. I like that size for these kind of smaller headings in hours of so we're telling it we want an H4 header, hours of operation, H3 header, such and such. So we're going to use an unordered list, UL unordered list, because I want bullet points. I don't want it to be numbered. That doesn't really make sense to me to number it when we're talking about hours of operation and putting days of the week and hours. So so I didn't add maybe Monday through Friday it's the same, and then we have different hours for Saturday and Sunday, because we want to give our library staff some time off during the weekend, so we're not going to go quite as long on those days. So maybe what I want to do here is create a bolded segment that says Monday through Friday. Let's see what that looks like. We'll go ahead and save that just to. So you can see here, we added the unordered list with 3 items. So we have the 3 bullet points already. And we have Monday through Friday. And because I use the strong, the bold, it makes that Monday through Friday bold. I'm actually going to add a colon. And then here, we're going to just type regular text. I think 9 a.m. through 6 p.m. Let's say for our hours Monday through Friday. So you can see that part, because it's outside of the strong, isn't bold. This part is in the side of the strong, so it's bolded. But that said, stop bolding it now. So anything after that isn't bold. And then we end that list item. And we'll do the same Saturday. You will want to have at least one strong bolded element on your final website. It doesn't have to be here, because you don't have to do this exact same thing. Again, it's just an example. But somewhere on your website, I want to see that you've used this strong element. It's on that list of elements I want to see you include in that final website. We're just going to say 12 to 5 p.m. actually on Saturday. And again, just constantly checking that to make sure it's working good. And you know, you can also, because we're in Notepad, you can copy and paste this. Just make sure what you're putting there is the new stuff. You make sure you change that. Sunday, we're just open for a couple hours. If you just need to drop something off, you can do that, but we're not here for very long. Got football and stuff. And there you go. So I think that's, oh, you know, I want to do one more thing. Maybe add a note here as a new paragraph. We're going to put a little note here about, I want to use a superscript. So we're going to make a note about our hours on July the 4th. So I'm going to use that little asterisk and say closed on July 4th, soup, TH. What's that? For the holiday. And as I should have done at the beginning, that closed P. Let's see what that looks like. Closed on July 4th for the holiday because we used the soup. We got that superscript there for the 4th. If we remove that soup, if I could do it, I remove that, TH just goes back to level, but it looks a little nicer if you do have that soup in there for the superscript. And you have the actual July closed for the July 4th holiday. Maybe you want to put that, the corresponding asterisk up there. So now they can see the asterisk in there. Okay, it's closed on July the 4th holiday. So that's where we'll stop it for now. We have quite a bit of content already added on here. Next week, we'll add some more content. We'll add some images. We'll reorganize some of the stuff. And then eventually we're going to get into how we can align and organize all this to look really nice as well. If you have any questions about where we're at, feel free to contact me as always. We're also, be sure, we saved this as a HTML, be sure to also go back and save it as the TXT extension. Notice here, I've been saving it continuously as the HTML so I could check over here and update it. So it's up to 1043, but this is still at 1025 the last time I saved it because I haven't been saving updates. So all I have to do is come back and save it as, we're going to replace that file. And now this is all saved as the most recent version as the TXT as well. So we can go back, see that it's both updated, and then we have both the recent text and HTML. Make sure you do that every time. Actually, it's probably better to save it as the TXT and then just save it as the HTML every time you want to check it on here. Because if you only save it as HTML and then close out, you're going to be without the code the next time you try to get it on. So that's a big warning there. Save it as TXT regularly, so you have that underlying code saved and not just the website itself. And then once you have that, you'll have the folder here that you can just zip and send to me. So like I said, have any questions, feel free to contact me. And next week, we'll get into even more exciting stuff.